Hello, my friends. Welcome to Lean and Clean Fitness at Christine. I'm Christine, your host, and today I had a cream pizza. So we're gonna make a high protein pizza dough and high protein fat. And you don't have to even let the dough ride. It's wonderful. So you may have seen it. I call it a magic dough. It is made with Greek yogurt. So you will need 1 cup of Greek yogurt. I am using 5% Fayet. That is the one that I actually love. But I do believe it comes out much better when you actually use the full fat version. And add 1 cup of yogurt. It's nice and thick. So if you're using a fat-free one, just remember that it's a little bit thinner. You might actually need a little bit more flour to pull this together. Do a little bit more. Want a nice measurement here. All right, we're good. I'm going to tap that right into the mold. Rape it out and get all of it in there. And then to that, we are going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now, you can actually, so we're going to get 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then I'm going to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You could also use bread flour if you like it a little bit more glutinous. 1.5 cups. And then with my impeccably clean hand, I'm going to go ahead and just mix that up. That's all there is to this dough. Now, optional, you can add at the end just a little bit of olive oil to it. It gives it that wonderful extra flavor, but it does add a little bit more fat to it so that you have to decide whether that's worth it. For me, it's a no. I'm just going to have to knead that in a little bit. If you find that it's not playing together enough, you can go ahead and add a little bit of water to it. Because like I said, the full fat version of Fayet is not very liquidy. So you have some options to go ahead and add that water. So we'll get just a little bit of water. I'll loosen that up a little bit. Then we'll start with about a tablespoon of water and just pick up that excess flour. We'll put a little bit at a time in so that if we don't want so much water that it's going to change or down, but we want to know that we're going to pick up that excess flour. Alternatively, you could add a cup of flour and then see if it needs the extra half a cup. But it works very well. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in about a tablespoon of this good quality olive oil. Just go around the rim. And we're just going to just coat that down in that olive oil. So now you see that we have it all picked up and we have a nice dough. Now we're going to let it rest. So we're going to let it rest for 5 minutes to relax all the gluten to make it easy to roll out. And then in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make the tomato sauce that's going to go on top of this. Let's make some pizza sauce. All right, this is a super simple recipe for those nights where you're just really busy and you don't want to get your sauce for a long time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take about half of a can of San Marzano tomatoes. Do about some of that. It's like a little more than half the can in there. Let's see if we can get some of that out of there. Came out a little faster than I intended, so we'll just take a couple out. Not a big deal. That's right back to our can. And then we're going to add about 6 ounces of tomato paste. That's going to give it that really rich tomatoey flavor that we're looking for. And at this point, you have a choice. You could add a little bit of sweetener. You can choose your sweetener or leave it out. I leave it out because I don't really care about how sweet it is. And then we want 1 tablespoon of our homemade Italian seasoning. If you have not watched that episode, I highly suggest you do that. Making your own means that you get to control the flavors. So very important. So that has basil, oregano, rosemary, and thyme in there. And now I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're good. And I do want to add garlic. However, I have an allergic reaction to garlic when I ingest it. So at the very end, I'll be adding the garlic in just for flavor. Keep it whole so I can take it out and not eat it. All right. You, on the other hand, can mince it and keep it in. All right. Just go ahead and We'll take a little taste, see how much salt and pepper is in it. And if we need some, we'll get 8 teaspoons. Okay, we'll definitely need more salt. So we'll give that a little pinch of kosher salt. We're going to add some pepper. So always checking for flavor. And for additional salt, I'm going to add some caramel olive paste. If you don't like olives, don't add olives. If you love anchovies instead, you can add some anchovy paste, whatever you like. I just use the back of the spoon for that. So I just put about a teaspoon in there. Let's give it a little whir again, and then we'll taste it again. Tap that on. Give it one little final taste. You'll need some. Got a bean spoon here. Let's try that. Much better. Like I said, adjust it to your taste. You're going to know best what you like. If you like a little sweeter pizza sauce, go ahead and add some sweetener. You could add anything from raw sugar to honey to maple syrup. You choose what you like. But make sure it makes sense. You want to taste it and keep that flavor. All right, so let's get back to our dough here. I'm going to grab it and we'll clean up a little bit first. We are back to our dough. So it is rested for 5 minutes. I have it on the counter with plastic wrap underneath it. We're going to also place that plastic wrap on top of it. I'm going to dust it with a little bit of flour that I have in a mason jar. These are super handy. These little screens that you can put on your mason jars, turn them into great little sifters. So let's keep going back this way. Make sure I've got that in the jar. Move this for a little bit. Yep. All right, so I'm going to cover that down. And just gently, it has some spring to it, so don't worry if you have to press a little harder than normal. We're just going to start rounding it out. Might have to be a little more aggressive than the normal one. It's not a big deal. And you decide how thick you like it. I like mine on the center side. So keep rolling till we get the thickness that you like. Now, I think I'm going to make a more square or rectangular because I made it a sheet pan. If you want to make it round, you can make it round. But I like the portion control of using it square. But I'm going to flip it over and remove that paper. Flip the whole thing over. Just so that it doesn't stick. Now we do have that little bit of olive oil on there, so it helps it not stick very much. But notice that I'm not adding a lot of additional flour to it. When you feel like you're at a good point, we'll transfer it to a pan. I always have so many projects going on. I have to take something off of one hand for just kind of a little parchment paper on it. We're going to dust that with a little more flour. Before I did this podcast, I made a really beautiful focaccia, nice and thick and bubbly. And then I'm going to cut those into squares for sandwiches this week. With this over. Here how easy it is to move when you've got that plastic wrap. Now, don't worry if it's not in the shape that you want it, because now you use your hands, and you're just going to stretch it to however you wish it to be. Sometimes I like my crust on the end a little thicker. You can push it to a little thicker. Looks more like it's ovals than it does a square. And we're just going to push it down. And we're going to bake this in a 400-degree oven until it is nice and golden brown. We'll take it out, top it with that sauce. We'll get some cheese on there. It's going to be delicious. Stick with me. Pizza crust in the oven. And while we wait for it to finish baking, I'll talk to you a little bit about why I'm sharing this recipe with you. It is so easy to just order pizza, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But we can make a conscious effort to make small changes and have a big impact. For instance, instead of adding butter to your toast, which is adding about a tablespoon of butter is 100 calories, you could add a little bit of whipped cottage cheese, therefore adding less calories and more protein. You could Use a little bit of drizzle of olive oil, which goes a lot longer than a pat of butter. So there's little swap outs that you can do that really make a huge impact of difference. So when I first started my journey, when I was a young girl, I started at Weight Watchers. And then as I got older, I went back to Weight Watchers. And as I got older, guess what I did? I went back to Weight Watchers a whole bunch of times, not realizing that it was not a sustainable thing for me. Not saying that it's not a good program. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it if it works for you. But for a person like me who could eat her 18 points for breakfast and then worry all day that I blew it already, so why not just go wild? And then the day before weigh-in would starve myself and do all these crazy things to make sure the weight didn't go up because it's so embarrassing to get on that scale. So it would really work great in the beginning because I was motivated and excited and really able to do this. And then it would go, because as soon as I'm told I can't have something, it's the only thing I can think about. That's just my nature. I have a very obsessive personality, so if you tell me that I cannot do something, then I'm going to obsess over it and think about it and think about it. For me, a much better option is to continue to think about fueling my body, what's going to move me forward, keep me running all day long, and I'm very breakfast and lunch centered. By dinner time, I've told you before, I taper off. But if I want pizza, I'm going to have pizza, whether it's a healthy pizza or not so healthy pizza. So if I keep my options on the healthier side, I'm helping myself a great deal. And over time, these little choices add up to big results. So I've been able to keep off these 50 pounds. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have a rounder belly than when I was younger and that things haven't shifted around, because that's a lie. Yeah, as I approach 60, things are changing. They're constantly changing, but we're meant to change. What I keep focusing on is, am I building muscle? Am I keeping active? Am I making sure that I'm fueling my body? Am I making sure that I'm hydrating my body? Those are the things that you need to work on to be consistent to see that change happen. If what you've tried before isn't working, look at it in a different way. Try something different. Don't keep going back to that same old. Try some new recipes. Try to lighten things up. Take out just one little part of it. That's going to make a big difference. Just adding that Greek yogurt in adds a mega boost of protein. And we want to keep our protein levels up. Why? Because it helps us keep our muscle toned. And that is what we need, ladies, as we get older. So focus on the good stuff, right? All right, we're getting back to our crust here. We're going to somewhat into cemented. So I baked my dough, pre-baking it, and look, it's getting puffy. And I don't want a puffy dough, so I'm just going to poke it with my tongs, and then I'm going to flip it over and try not to put the pan with my hand. All right, we're just going to give it a good poke. That deflated those bubbles, and we're going to flip it back and finish it up till it gets brown. Then I've got my mozzarella pearls ready, and my Parmigiano Reggiano is already grated. I did that in the break. I'll show you. Already grated on parchment paper, so it's nice and easy to move in there. Then we'll get some cherry tomatoes in there. It's going to be fabulous. All right, let's put it together. Our crust is out of the oven. It should look like a flatbread right now. And now we're going to pizza it up. So we're going to add some of that sauce that we made. And you decide how much sauce you like, how thick or how not that you like it. It will hold really well. I take that chunk of garlic out. It's been our friend. It's been helping us get garlic flavor without killing me. For some reason, actual garlic itself kills me. It might make my stomach hurt for days. But just having the flavor of it does not hurt. So that is my compromise with myself. Okay. But I highly suggest if garlic does not bother you, we'll definitely mince it and put it in there because it's lovely. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and tear up some basil leaves. Just a few. I don't have a lot of basil growing right now. I had a little change in weather that killed off my basil. And then we have some fresh rosemary chopped up that I'm going to put on it. And we're going to put all this Parmigiano Reggiano down there, just make it snow. It's about a quarter cup. And then we're going to add these pearls on there. These mozzarella pearls, which I much prefer to shredded. One, it doesn't have all that yucky coating on it that shredded has. If you shred it yourself, obviously you can avoid that, but this is so much easier. And it's delicious. real fresh mozzarella pearls. And I can show you how to make it in a future episode if you would like. If that interests you, let me know and we'll make some. So now I cover this up. We get all those little areas. And this is optional, but I like to do it anyhow. Take some of the tomatoes. Not a whole lot of them, but just maybe 10 or so. And we're just going to slice them in half. Them on there. It already has a bit of tomato flavor, but I really like tomatoes and I like the way it looks. I'm going to top with a little bit more Parmesan. It's worth it to invest in Parmigiano Reggiano. It is definitely the king of cheeses and there's nothing comparable. However, if you feel like that's a little out of your price range, check out some Pecorino Romano that you also do by hand. It is also a delicious cheese. Urbana Padano. Okay, here we go. We're just going to hit this with a little bit more on top of the tomatoes. And then it's going back in the oven. Now, I'm going to show you what I did. So this is on a board. I'll flip this around so you can oven. I took that sheet pan and I inverted it. So I just flipped it upside down. So that when I put the pizza, then it go right on there. So the pan stays nice and hot. It gives us a hot surface that pizza. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. Our pizza is right out of the oven, so it is smoking hot. But I'm going to attempt to on a little bit of it so I can show you. Now, the other thing I like to do, for those that can tolerate it, is a little tiny dab of pesto sauce. I usually make my own, so I keep the garlic out of it. It's perfectly fine to purchase pesto, but you want to make sure it's pasta bolognese because you want it to make sure that it has all the good stuff in it. So sometimes I just go through and just take a knife and just dab little tiny pieces after it's out of the oven. Because you really don't want to heat it up. You don't want it to separate. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut a piece of it. I can show you what it looks like. The crust is nice and firm. Hear that? It's delicious, I promise. Really fun. Now, I use this base for a lot of different things. You can make strombolis, you can make calzones, you can use it just as a flatbread, you can make sandwiches with it. Cool, versatile bunch of things. But it really is great for pizza. So I hope you'll give it a try. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you'd like for future episodes, how I can help you. Whatever it is you want to tell me, I'm here for it. So let's do this together. Keep cooking, keep hydrating, keep fueling, keep moving. I know that we think when we get older, it's our hormones, it's our genetics just to gain weight all the time. But truly, most of the time, it's just us slowing down without even realizing it. You know, I used to teach a lot more than I do. And so I have to be very mindful to keep moving, make sure I get all my steps in every day. And I encourage you to do the same thing. The more natural movement you get during the day, not just at the gym, not just on a workout, but the more natural movement you get during the day, the more those calories will burn, the easier it'll be to keep those pounds off. All right, my lovelies, if you've enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and give us a rating, leave a comment, do all that fun stuff. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. I love to all. Prayers for everybody. Be well. I'll see you next episode.